Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Good to see all of you guys. Welcome back to the Daily Grind. I'm your host, Chum Change. This is live and recorded, and we're going to be talking about the spot Bitcoin ETF Optimism. Is it just fueled by optimism, this entire rally, or is it actually a given that we're going to be getting a spot Bitcoin ETF within the next month or so? I don't know. I guess the ticker was removed from the DTCC website yesterday and then re-put on or something, so I don't know. We're gonna go through all this today, just kind of see what the news of the morning is around the YouTube space. But before we do that, we're gonna say hello to everybody. So let's see. Mr. Gaming with Smokey Dan, thank you for being a member for 6 months. You're awesome, buddy. He said, time sure does fly by, but the fun times, great content, and crypto mining is here to stay, with the Mario emoji. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you very much. All right, let's see who else is here in the chat, and then we'll get into it. Mr. Steven Cicero, good morning. Andrew Masad, Sustainable Crypto. Rob Mines, good to see you, buddy. Let's see. David, Leo Lustig, Dan R, Sadie sometimes. Let's see who else is here. Let's see. Scrolling down. Dumpster Fire, my man. We have Rich. Good to see you. Greater Good Mining. Good to see you as well. Black Sales. Nick K. Kaiser, my man. Appreciate you guys. Neomorphous and Backwards Miner. Oh, and Tanes. Appreciate you guys. All right, let's get into this, see what the market's looking like today, and then we'll dive into some other news topics. All right, Bitcoin. Everything looks red, but this is all way higher than I was expecting it to be. I thought it was going to pull back under 34 for sure, but clearly we're holding 34 pretty strong, which is nice. So 34,379 for Bitcoin. Ethereum 1789. Dogecoin still 6.5 cents. We have Matic at 63 cents. LTC is at $68, which is pretty good. Solana is in the deep green today, 33.50. That's crazy. Why is Solana holding up so hard and everything else is kind of dying? Actually, Link's pretty much right there with it at $11. Crazy. I need my COD. Good morning. Good to see you, buddy. All right, let's see crypto bubbles over here. Top 100 coins. Let's check the week. Damn, everything is really green on the week. Look at Pepe is up 68.9%. This coin, this PP coin, just doesn't want to go away. It doesn't want to disappear. Hex is at 145%. Jeez, that is wild. All right, let's go to the day. What is Mina? Mina is down 25.1%. We have, for whatever reason, the FTT token still exists and it's up 5.6%. Pepe is up 11.3, or PP, whatever the hell you want to call that coin. We have 6.6% on Link. This is Chainlink. XRD 3.2% up. Not too bad. Not too bad. Everything else is kind of just whatever. Solana, again, like I said, 5.4%, $33. It's crazy, man. I'm so kicking myself in the ass for that. I really am, because I said that at $19. I was like, this is gonna pump and I should buy into it, and I never did because I'm a butthole. That's what happens. All right, let's check out Fear and Greed Index. So right here, this is like a sign of we're gonna have some sort of pullback. To me anyways, this chart is growing exponentially, right? We're at 72 on the greed scale now. The higher this goes, the more likely it is we're gonna see a quick pullback. That's just my opinion. Take it with a grain of salt. Again, be greedy when people are fearful, be fearful when people are greedy. That's what Warren Buffett says. So stay true to it. It seems to work pretty well. All right, top 10 coins of coin market cap over on CoinGecko. We have Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, BNB, XRP, USDC, Lido, Staked Ether, Solana, Cardano, and Dogecoin. Litecoin is down in 17th. Shiba is down in 19th, right after Bitcoin Cash at 18th. All right, that should be it. Let's check out, actually, you know what, real quick, I forgot. We're going to be doing this now every day. The Mine the ASIC. I want to see what the best performing ASIC is of the day, as we are a crypto mining channel mainly. So the Bitmain Antminer is still at the top of the list. The KS3 Caspa miner, $120 a day. We have the Ice River KS3 is at $101 a day. They are a difference of 1.4 terahashes, so that makes sense, right? The L7, what is this? This is new. What is XVG? This is a new coin. $28 a day. I gotta get my L7 back on. What is happening? What is this? $27 a day. XVG. What? All right, hold on. Sorry, we're stopping the morning show for a second. XVG. What is this coin? Verge? What the hell is Verge? What is Verge? Where can we sell it? Where are the markets? Let's see. Hold on. If anybody doesn't know. Oh, MEXC. All right, so it's on a lot of places. What? I'm so confused. I am so confused. This is the L7 9050. That's what I have. $27 a day. What is happening? Does anybody else know? Is it just me, or like, am I the only one that just figured this out or just saw this for the first time? Is it me? Does anybody know? Does anybody know about this? What's happening here? What is happening? Did this have a giant run up and that's why it's like all of a sudden like a thing? Hold on. Oh my God, this threw me for a loop. Okay, let's go to the max real quick on this. No, it didn't even have a run up. What? Verge price chart, XVG. What is happening? If it didn't even have a run up in the all time, I mean, it seems like it's pretty far down from where it was. Let's go to a 30-day, I guess. I mean, nothing too significant, but holy shit, I'm excited. I might look into this a little later. So I guess stay tuned for that. I'm gonna have to check out what that's all about. Anyways, yeah, I haven't seen the L7 make 20 something dollars a day in a long time, so I'm pretty stunned about that actually. Let's check out the X16Q from jinglemining.com. 4.55 cents a day, so $4.55 a day. We have the that's the X4. I have the X4Q running as well, $1.63. Ice River KS0 is at $1.21 a day. Actually, they have the KS0 Pro now, which is doing 200 gigahashes, so you should get a whole $2.42 on that machine when that comes out, but it's probably going to be less than that because they're probably going to delay it forever and they just want your money. So that's why they made this new machine with new firmware. Just my opinion. Anyways, all right, let's get into this. We have Bitcoin jumps as high as $35,000 amid a rally fueled by the spot ETF Optimism. So is this all about just optimism, or are we actually going to be getting this thing real soon? You guys let me know what you think in the chat. Let's dive into it. Shout out to CNBC's Crypto World.
Today, Bitcoin soars as investors hope a spot ETF is just around the corner. And Mike Belshie of BitGo reacts to that rally and his expectations for spot ETFs here in the US. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Tanea McKeel. It's been a huge 24 hours for the crypto market, with Bitcoin soaring nearly 9% before noon Eastern and breaking the $35,000 mark at its peak for the first time since May 2022. Ether jumped 6%, and crypto companies over on Wall Street got in on the action this morning as well. Coinbase's stock was up 9.5% by midday to around $84. Now, this latest rally is an extension of Bitcoin's more muted climb over the past several days as excitement around the possibility of a spot ETF builds and investors seek safe assets like gold. It could also be fueled in part by investors who were betting against the crypto asset and scrambling to cover short positions, in other words, by a short squeeze. Bitcoin saw $275 million in short liquidations on Sunday, followed by another $100 million on Monday, according to crypto data provider CoinGlass. The Grayscale Bitcoin Trust also got a boost after a ruling by a federal appeals court took effect, directing the SEC to review Grayscale's proposal to convert the trust into an ETF. That's not the only proposal getting attention right now. There's also growing optimism that ETFs from BlackRock and ARK could be nearing approval too. Remember, the SEC has until January to accept or deny several of these applications sitting before it, and investors are betting that at least one will get the go-ahead. To hear more about the current rally and the hope around a spot Bitcoin ETF getting approved here in the States, I spoke to Mike Belshie, the CEO of crypto custodian BitGo. All right, Mike, thank you so much for joining us on Crypto World again today. A really big move from Bitcoin, the first 10% move that we've seen since March during its banking crisis-fueled rally. What do you make of it?
Well, I think a lot of the premise of Bitcoin is coming true. People are excited about kind of Bitcoin's impact and potential in the world. I think also people are realizing a little bit that, look, 92% of Bitcoin has already been mined. In terms of scarce assets in a time like these, when you've got, kind of a government spending that's a bit out of control, Bitcoin's looking like, as Larry Fink puts it, a flight to quality.
This catalyst right now, this potential Bitcoin ETF, we had Mike Novogratz on our air recently saying that he thought it could come by the end of this year. Others saying at latest by Q2 of 2024. I'm not here to ask you about a prediction, but it really is and has been such a positive catalyst for the market. What are the biggest headwinds right now?
Look, I think we're just waiting for the SEC to go through its process at this point. I think the resistance has been there, and the the courts have shut it down in the case of the GBTC matter, and the other places where the SEC has been negative on crypto and digital assets have also been shut down. And so all of this, I think, is leading very positively. But remember, we now have a BlackRock ETF application. And BlackRock, these guys know ETFs. They've been doing it longer than anybody. I don't know how many applications they have, but somewhere in the 500 range. And they've only ever had one rejected. So, they don't take this lightheartedly. They are the largest asset manager in the world, bar none. And I think at this point, we know that the ETF comes through. BlackRock knows how to do it. The partners they're working with know how to do it. The SEC has been told, look, it's ready, guys. It's time to go. So it's going to happen.
When it happens, how do you see the price responding? I mean, do you see the market kind of rocketing higher to new all-time highs, or are we still held back by things like the rate environment or, the uncertainty happening because of the war between Israel and Hamas?
Saw that answer.
Look, I think both of those things collude together to drive the Bitcoin price even higher. So on the ETF side first, ETFs make access to Bitcoin so much easier for everybody that's looking for kind of a traditional market participation. All of a sudden, RIAs that have really kind of struggled about how would they participate directly can just go to the broker and just buy it like any other product. They don't have to take any extra liabilities. It kind of fits within their existing product line. So we're definitely going to see significant increased demand. And, people are guessing as to how much that's going to be. There's a number of ways to slice and dice it. Novogratz Galaxy put out a report this morning. They estimated that something like 15 billion over the first year would come in. I actually think it's going to be higher than that, but we'll see. And then you can do, once you know kind of what the volume you think is going to come in, you can start to do some comparisons to other asset classes and say like, well, what does that influx of demand tend to do to prices? And the Galaxy report estimates maybe a 75% prediction in Bitcoin increase in Bitcoin prices solely due to the ETF in the next couple of years. I think it's going to be a little higher than that because I think the demand is stronger. And then when you overlay the economic climate of the United States and, frankly, the world stage, we're seeing a real problem for the dollar. So it used to be that people are like, you should put 1 or 2% of your net worth into Bitcoin. Now,
real quick, I'm just reading the chat. Dan R just said, my wife asked me last night if we own Bitcoin. He said, I just laughed. ... Really? That's hysterical. When your wife starts asking you if you own Bitcoin or we own Bitcoin, shit's getting bullish. That's crazy. That's funny as hell, actually.
Nowadays, people are saying, you know what? You should put 5 or 6% of your net worth into Bitcoin. And the same premise is true, which is it's an asymmetric upside to downside. Look, obviously only invest what you can afford to put in. But, frankly, the US dollar is now a tax. So we'll see what happens there. It is true that interest rates being higher, some people will feel like, hey, I could just put it into T-bills. And maybe I get a risk-free, 5% that way. But I think in general, the bigger money is looking for something that's going to outpace inflation.
All right. So if this is the trajectory, what does that mean for the custody business? And what are you guys at BitGo doing to kind of get all your ducks in a row for whatever it is that happens over the next 6 months?
Right. Well, first off, obviously the ETFs are going to need custody, and some of those are going to be using BitGo. So, there's an indirect goodness there. The second thing, though, I think is more interesting on the technical side, and for those of us that are fighting for decentralization, is figuring out, okay, how do we make sure that this asset is really secure for the future? And today, a large set of wallets are $1 billion in size. But the future wallets are going to be $1 trillion in size. So we are preparing at BitGo now for what do we have to do to our security infrastructure today to prepare for the case where Bitcoin is $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a coin, and we've now got $1 trillion wallets that we have to protect. We are up to the challenge. We'll get there. Part of the solution, by the way, is continuing to decentralize and make sure that there's not any single party, any single point of failure that could be hacked.
So is it all optimism through the end of the year, or is there anything that gives you pause between now and, say, the new year?
I think we're going to see a ride up a little bit. I think people are being a little bit exuberant at the moment, so probably there's some sort of pullback, maybe around the end of the year. And then, once the ETFs do get approved, I think we're going to start seeing significant inflows. So I think we'll see a pretty good market after that.
Usually around Black Friday, we see.
Okay, that's all for crypto.
Yeah, so typically around Black Friday or so is when, when the holidays come, people are spending money and, selling out of stuff to just whatever, get gifts or whatever the case may be, travel, So typically we see it around Black Friday to Christmas. It's usually kind of like a weird state where a lot of people are selling, people are buying at the same time. It's kind of strange. So we could see some sort of pullback there. Let me check. So someone asked what was up with Neox's price today. Let's see what Neox is doing. Is Neox having a pump? Let's see. I'm still shocked about that L7 making 27 bucks a day. That's crazy. No, it's down 20.7%. That's on the day. Let's see. Well, so I would guess, right, the reason this is having some sort of pullback, so I think, if I'm not mistaken, Neoxa did just get listed on MEXC. Maybe is that the site? I think that's the site, the exchange that it got listed on. So it's probably just having a quick pullback, right? And this is really not a bad time to just like scoop some up if you're looking to get more. Why not? You know what I mean? I don't know what the hell I just did. God damn it. Anyways, all right. Let's move on. So this is the former SEC attorney. Is the Bitcoin ETF approval? It's not a given, he's saying, basically. So I want to hear what he's got to say over here on Bloomberg Television. Again, guys, hit that like button. Appreciate you for hanging out. Let's get into it.
What do you think? Is a spot ETF approval a given?
Well, thank you for having me. And no, it's not. Gary Gensler and the SEC have done a very good job of really trying to regulate with the existing statutes how Bitcoin and other different kinds of coins are being regulated here. They have not had anything where they've let them onto a securities exchange yet, which is what you're talking about. There are coins on the commodities exchange because the regulatory scheme over there is different. So I think for them to let one onto a securities exchange, which they regulate as opposed to the commodity exchanges, is going to be a very difficult lift. And if it does happen, I would expect it's going to take a while, and there's going to be a fair amount of regulation written around it so that they can guard against the kinds of things that happen with some of these coins.
Now, what's interesting about this, too, is some of the pushback you've seen from the SEC has to do with safety and security around Bitcoin itself. If you think about the SEC's approving or not approving a new structure here, is it safer to buy Bitcoin under the ETF wrapper or not, given how much the structure has changed going into this process?
If it's all wrapped up into another kind of security or commodity, it may give you some additional safety, but still at base root, if what you're looking at is a commodity like Bitcoin, which is really sort of, remember that these things were brought out and the idea of them was get off the grid. They didn't want the SEC. They didn't want the CFTC, and they want to keep those things as much like that as possible.
You all suck.
The problem with that is it creates huge problems. I understand, like, for example, that Hamas is now financing some of their operations with these kinds of products. So,
dude, I am so sick of hearing that bullshit. I am so sick of hearing the war has to do with crypto. Like, F this guy, F Elizabeth Warren, they all suck. That's so bullshit.
Think about that
God.
when you want to go think about buying this stuff.
Well, Tom, I'm glad you brought that up because we know
So
lawmakers on
stupid.
Capitol Hill are thinking about that. And actually, just last week, more than 100 of them, both in the Senate and the House, wrote a letter to the Treasury and Jake Sullivan over at the NSC saying, quote, that the deadly attack by Hamas on Israeli
Fucking
civilians
stupid.
comes as the group
Has
has
nothing to do
become
with
one of the
crypto.
most sophisticated crypto users in the terror finance domain, clarifies the national security threat crypto poses to the U.S. and our allies. Yet we
Okay, and they're missing the whole entire point here. You know, the reason that these guys or whoever, whatever, it doesn't matter what they're doing, right? Like, as, I don't know, terrorists or not. The reason they're using crypto is because it's faster, it's easier. That's the entire point behind crypto. That doesn't mean that people that use it are gonna go and fucking bomb shit. Like, why do they keep saying that? It's so ridiculous. It's such FUD. God,
Spoken,
I hate
Tom, just last
Drives
week
me
with a cyber expert, former CIA, Yahya Fanusi, who's now with the Crypto Council of Innovation, who suggested the activity really wasn't all that great. And we know a lot of terrorist financing and other illicit activity is done in U.S. dollars. So what's your response here?
Well, the problem is if they're using this to finance their operations, and it's difficult to tell exactly how far they're going with this stuff. If they're using that, then what we have is terrorists using this medium that's traded freely in this country to raise money to inflict huge amounts of damage and injury and death on civilians.
Just listen to what he just said. Listen to how bad he's trying to make crypto sound over a fucking war that has nothing to do with crypto. And not to mention, this guy has a freaking typewriter from the fucking 1940s, clearly a dinosaur.
Using this medium that's traded freely in this country to raise money to inflict huge amounts of damage and injury and death on civilians. That shouldn't be allowed to be happening. But one of the things that makes it somewhat easy is you can take these crypto coins, you can trade them on a commodity regulation with little or no oversight, and you can raise money. You can't do that in the securities exchanges. It's much harder just because of the way you get on one exchange versus the other. But it's still a threat, and it's not something that we should be sanctioning when we're spending billions of dollars to try to protect people in these countries.
You know, I think he's got Gary Gensler in his closet back there. That right there. This he's hiding right there, telling him what to say. God damn it. Man, I wish I didn't play that now. Now I'm like more pissed off than I was. That was so aggravating. God. All right, let's see. Bitcoin's big bounce. Cryptocurrency doubles in 2023. It's CNBC television. Neat headline. I wanted to see what it was all about. Let's see.
Bitcoin having quite a day, hitting fresh highs, now up triple digits on the year. The move also helping to boost, of course, as you might expect, MicroStrategy, which owns a lot of Bitcoin. Coinbase also up. Let's get over to Kate Rooney. She's got more on what exactly is driving this latest action, Kate.
Hey, David, good morning. So Bitcoin's rally was first sparked by this excitement we've seen around the approval for a Bitcoin ETF, but there's also some action going on in derivatives markets that's having an impact this week. The cryptocurrency popped above $35,000 this week. That was for the first time since the industry really saw a meltdown last summer. It has been climbing past that $30,000 level in the past couple of weeks, thanks to hope that a Bitcoin ETF would be approved. The SEC declined to challenge a court decision against Grayscale Investments. That company is trying to convert its publicly traded trust, GBTC, into an ETF. You've got BlackRock and Fidelity among those with a Bitcoin application out there as well. Investors I'm talking to say the abrupt spike higher though this week, it's likely due to action going on in the options market. So short covering by traders who bet against Bitcoin. They've got to buy back that cryptocurrency. That's sparking the rally here. According to data from CoinGlass, Bitcoin has seen $250 million in short liquidations in the past day or so. Crypto stocks getting that boost as well. You got
$250 million in short liquidations.
Coinbase Hire, it's listed as a partner in a lot of these ETF applications. MicroStrategy, Riot Blockchain as well, some of the mining names getting a boost as well. Back to you guys.
Yeah, MicroStrategy, absolutely. Of course, we haven't talked to Michael Saylor in a little bit. Kate, thank you.
Crazy. Oh, shit, didn't mean to do that. Oh, we saw that the other day. All right, so the one thing that I wanted to say is actually exactly what Dan R said in the chat when it comes to this whole war bullshit, right? That everybody's like saying is like crypto is so bad because, you know, they're using crypto for this war and blah, blah, blah. But guess what? If they were using the US dollar, you wouldn't be able to trace it or find who was using that, you know, US dollar or whatever the case may be. At least Bitcoin, you could trace it back and find these assholes that are using it. So they forget to mention all that, but they get to say how bad it is because they're actually, you know, buying and cashing out with crypto because it's easier than, you know, being a dinosaur and carrying gold or silver or whatever the case may be. But it just, it blows my mind how much they just don't tell you, how much they just don't want to tell you. And they just want to make it all look as bad as it possibly can. Anyways, all right. Crypto Zombie here again. I want to hear what he has to say. So he said, Bitcoin, this just got insane. Look who's buying. It's actually happening now. I saw the beginning of this video, and he puts together like it's a 1 or 2 minute clip of just like funny Bitcoin things. So I want to see what it is. If you guys don't mind, hit that like button. Appreciate y'all. Let's get into it.
What's going on, guys? K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day today. A little bit of an early video today. You're probably wondering, did I even get any sleep last night? Well, my voice is still a little bit hoarse, so I do apologize about that. But nevertheless, guys, Bitcoin is...
I want that whale chair. That's what I want. I want to know where he got that.
Still up over 30% in basically the last 48 hours. And you can see right here, it doesn't really look like Bitcoin wants to stop. So I do want to talk about everything that's going on today, what is happening in the charts. And I want to talk about who may potentially be buying in the background, because we have some very interesting data that I want to go over in today's video. But before we dive in, I think it's time for a little bit of a celebration. Roll the clip.
The no coiner.
So my goodness, did these shorts get wrecked?
That was the absolute best beginning to a video ever. That was so great.
See right here, there's actually $322 million worth of shorts being liquidated. So the bears are not happy today. And one thing that I did want to point out, which I actually mentioned over on my Twitter, if you're following me, is that we did in fact close the CME futures gap right here.
Yeah.
And that gap was up at around $35,180. So,
I mean, I guess that's good. And that could be kind of shitty. I kind of wish it didn't get closed, so we had to go back up there, right?
You know, we always talk about these gaps. We know that they eventually get closed, and we did, in fact, close it. So, obviously, the biggest question is, now that we did close the gap, are we looking for some type of a pullback, or are we just going to continue to the upside? Well, I will get into the TA in just a bit, but I did want to talk about what is happening right now, especially in the news. So, has the crypto bull run started? Go home, bears, says Morgan Stanley. Well, this was the topic that we had on the Crypto Crossfire live stream, if you guys watched it, where basically we were discussing whether or not the bull market had begun, and I said yes, because everything was pointing to the fact that the bull market had begun. But again, you know, hindsight being 2020, how long do you actually want to wait? You know, you want to wait till we go all the way back to $70,000 and then we can say the bull run started? I mean, you're missing out on the entire move, right? But you know who doesn't think that this is a real bull run? Our good old friend, Peter Schiff. That's right. He says speculators are buying Bitcoin now because they think other speculators are waiting to buy a Bitcoin ETF. They will soon discover that there are far more speculators waiting to sell than waiting to buy.
This guy is such an idiot. He is such an idiot. Every time he says something, he's always wrong.
And he also went on to say Bitcoin is now trading at 35K. Of course, this is a little bit later. The price went even higher as speculators bet on SEC approval of GBTC converting into an ETF. Such a conversion will likely mark the top of the rally. If Bitcoin doesn't sell off prior to approval, the sell-off will be less severe if the ETF conversion is rejected again. But Let's not forget the fact that Peter Schiff also on November 25th of 2018 said, don't make the mistake of thinking that buying Bitcoin below 3,800 is a bargain just because the current price is better than 80% below its record high. Bitcoin's price could easily drop another 80% from here, and at $750, it would still be expensive. Well,
I wish I caught that, because I did. This is when I first got into Bitcoin. It was like, I think I saw around 3,500 bucks. And I was like, I remember saying to myself, why is this coin so like expensive versus, because I was looking at Ethereum and ETC. It was like when I first opened up Coinbase, I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, what is this cryptocurrency? And I didn't understand why Bitcoin was so expensive. And, you know, I kicked myself in the ass because I could have had a lot of it if I just invested into it then. And yeah. It sucks. DJ, I remember when it was 3K. Same thing, man.
I'm happy that I and many other people did not listen to Peter Schiff, because Bitcoin never went below that level ever again. It was actually the best buying opportunity, and we definitely didn't get a $750 Bitcoin the way that we're not going to get the 20K, 15K, 12K Bitcoin that all these guys are calling for, right? So what were some of the big things? And there's one bit of news that also kind of just came out of left field. But according to the breaking information, you guys know this, but Grayscale, so the court has allowed the company to proceed with its Bitcoin spot ETF application and send the application back to the SEC. The court provided instructions to the SEC on how to proceed with Grayscale's Bitcoin spot ETF application. So basically, they're telling them, you can't reject this anymore based on what you've already said. You either essentially ultimately have to approve it, or you're going to have to come up with another reason to reject it. But they're obviously running out of reasons, especially now that all of these other companies are working with them. They're making the necessary amendments, and, you know, eventually a lot of people are saying even by January we could have multiple potential ETFs approved. Another big thing, now this may not be breaking news specifically, but we did have Judge Torres signing the order officially dismissing the case against Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson of Ripple. Now, obviously, as you can see, this was, dated back on October 19th when it happened. But if we come up here, the dated filed was in fact yesterday. So this solidifies it. This puts the official nail in the coffin. So the SEC is just losing. And, it's funny. You're seeing all of these judges, senators, members of Congress. You have, Patrick McHenry, all these different people just coming out and realizing how ridiculous the U.S.'s stance has been and how cryptocurrency is the future. Oh, and you want to know who else? Who else just kind of reversed their stance? Hong Kong. Hong Kong has reversed their anti-crypto stance. Their financial regulator has updated their crypto policies, allowing retail investors to engage in spot crypto and ETFs with certain conditions. So is it possible that some of this pump might even have to do with Asia? Could it be Hong Kong? Because we know that even though China does not necessarily allow exposure to Bitcoin and crypto, well, these guys, they kind of just skirt around it, right? And they just go through Hong Kong, right? That's how they're doing this. So it's all just smoke and mirrors. It's all just a big game. Look, if they want to get it, if they want to get involved, they will get involved. But here is the big kicker, and this is what I wanted to talk about. So we have aggregated open interest of Bitcoin futures. Now, you may be saying, oh, well, it kind of fell off a little bit here. Yeah, but I mean, if you look at the overall trajectory, with the exception of right here, and of course this area. Now, I just want to point out that this area right here, this was right when we had that massive, massive crash area. But just look at the general trend of it, right? The general trend, as you guys can see, it's basically going, essentially up and to the right? But if we come over here, this is even more interesting. So we have CME Bitcoin open interest at an all-time high, surpassing 100,000 Bitcoin. Now, why is this important? Well, if we come over here and we compare it to some of these other players, right, you'll notice that it's actually now the second largest at an all-time high of 25%. And really the only thing that's higher than this is Binance. So if you just put together the puzzle pieces, who are the people that are using CME Bitcoin derivatives? Now, of course, this is futures. These are cash settled. So this isn't as good, but obviously this is showing that they're not able to get into a spot Bitcoin ETF because a spot Bitcoin ETF doesn't exist yet. But this is the institutions, guys. Who else do you think is using this? All right. These are all of the people who don't want to self-custody. They don't trust things like Coinbase, but they will use a regulated entity that they're familiar with. And since we don't have BlackRock and since we don't have all these other ETFs, they are currently over using the CME futures. And you can see right here that it is definitely going up. And if you don't believe me, we also had a report by digital asset manager CoinShares that actually helped to pretty much validate this theory. So they say crypto products have registered institutional inflows for a fourth consecutive week. In fact, they've done 66 million in inflows in just the last week. So it clearly appears that the institutional appetite for crypto investment products are hitting new levels as more money pours into crypto funds. So this obviously shows that cryptos are on their 4-week streak, with Bitcoin obviously being the largest, accounting for 84%. According to James Butterfield, the head of research at CoinShares, it's a scenario that suggests that the short sellers are in fact losing their confidence. So
hold on, I want to scroll back to that. Solana, which has seen bullish strength since breaking above $20, also recorded significant inflows worth 15.5 million. This continues a trajectory that sees inflows into the altcoin account for 47% of the category's assets under management year to date. Meanwhile, Ethereum saw 7.4 million in outflows this past week. Interesting.
That cryptos are on their 4-week streak, with Bitcoin. All
right.
They want to dive in head first, but they don't have that regulated entity yet, right? I showed you with Larry Lepard the other day that he was talking to a very wealthy friend, right? You know, probably like a billionaire. I don't know how much money this guy has. And, this guy was like, yeah, I want to get involved in Bitcoin. I want to get involved in this, but I just don't feel comfortable until the ETF. So that is a fact. So let's dive in. Let's have a look super quick at the charts again. And I just want to stress before we get into the charts, I just want to stress one more time. I would be shocked if this is, necessarily like one of these, okay? Going into something like this type of a parabolic trend. We could be entering that. I don't necessarily know. I'm thinking, where we are right now is, we're coming out of something like this. We could have this run up, right? We could, coming out like this, we could have this run up, and then we may have that sideways cool off period. I don't think we're going to go as low as we did here, only because that was COVID. That was unexpected, But if you kind of just scribble this out, let's just scribble it out.
These are weekly candles.
I know you guys love when I draw. I'm like the most sloppy sketcher on these charts. But what did it do? It had this crazy exuberance. It came back down, and then it would have probably just chopped sideways, right? So I think that's kind of where we're at right now, where you could see us come up and then maybe come down, and at some point you'd have some of these moving averages, kind of starting to go like this. Maybe we do come down and revisit the 26K range at some point and then continue to go sideways. But again, I just don't see a scenario in which we're coming back into here and closing, down at like 15, 18, even, 20, because even the lowest moving average, which is this 50, is sitting at 25,400. So, I mean, you would be talking about breaking.
I'm gonna be honest. I would be like, I'd be disappointed that if it came way down there, but I'd also be excited if it came down to, in the 20s again, 25 again or so. But I don't know. I mean, seeing that the ETF, just the ticker symbol and a bunch of FUD pushed it to this point, do you honestly think once it really comes out, it's not gonna fucking moonshot? You know what I mean? Like, think about it.
Some massive structure, right? And again, I showed you,
even if we go down, it's like we're gonna come right back up at some point.
Guys, that the super guppy is starting to flip into the cyan, and eventually these EMAs tend to flip into the green. And once we flip into the green, we obviously tend to stay there in a long time. Again, we have the
here, baby.
We have the EMA ribbon. I'm not going to keep harping on that. And here's the cautionary part of what we're doing. So you can see right here, we are clearly in a bit of a parallel channel, right? It's pretty clear. I mean, you can see right here, very clear resistance, very clear resistance, very clear resistance, very clear support, very clear support, very clear support.
Again, these are weak candles from May of 2022 to now, obviously 2023 October-ish. Yeah.
Then what did we have right here? Well, right here, we had a little bit of a fake out, right? We had a little bit of a bear trap. So would it be possible to break up here, maybe put in a bit of a bull trap, and then fall back into this? Yes, I think that would be very likely, because that's more along the lines of the sideways consolidation that we would expect to see leading into the halving. So, you know, again, I'm not getting bearish. I'm just saying that the likelihood that what we're doing right now turns into this, okay, where you know, Bitcoin just breaks out and just pumps, you know, literally 570% in 37 bars. No, I don't personally think that's happening. I could be wrong, but I do still think that this is a very bullish setup. And having a look right here, you know, we have gotten sort of past this first area of resistance, which I am quite surprised that we actually have broken into this. But keep in mind, these are weekly candles, and it's only Tuesday, so we do have until the end of the week. You know,
Wednesday
we could
now,
potentially get you know, a wick down rejection. But the next level, as you guys can see right here, is, you know, this area, and that area also had some very strong support at around 37,270. So if I had to give a guess, my honest opinion, and it's hard to predict these things because, you know, I'm not Nostradamus and you would be guessing, I would think that you would be looking for some type of a cool-off period relatively soon. However, if we did reach the peak of exuberance, then I would say that I would go at this level. My target would be around 37,278. And then I would honestly say we would be due for a pullback, even if from that level was to come back down and revisit this area right here, or even lower, actually, believe it or not, even down to about 29,500. But you know, as you guys see, even if we were to do that, what would we be doing? We would still be putting in a higher low structure, right? So that's fine. It's okay. And
I don't think that's out of the realm of possibilities coming back to 29. I honestly do think it's going to come back to the high 20s. That's just my personal opinion.
I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bittersweet. Like, I love to see Bitcoin pump, but I also get very sad that I don't have more Bitcoin. So I don't mind it going down a little bit to accumulate a little bit more. And I know my box is probably in front of this you know, volume range area, but you don't really have to worry about this right here. What I do want to point out is how it just starts basically falling off a cliff right here. So, you know, it does kind of make that plausibility that if you do kind of, you know, start to pump, you could move through these areas quite quick, which I guess would invalidate my, you know, super crazy pump theory. But at the same time, because there's not a lot of volume range at those levels, you could also fall back through them quite quick. So, you know what I'm trying to say? If we had like a massive pump, you know, excuse these drawings, like a massive pump up here, which we're not going to go that high. That'd be all-time highs. But, you know, something like that really quick, it could fall even harder. So this is sort of the area where you do want to be careful about those crazy pumps, because they could have also crazy pullbacks just because of the lack of that volume range right there. But again, ultimately, we're still seeing the majority of the money flow moving to the upside. And it does look like even if we do have a pullback, that Bitcoin ultimately does want to continue its path to the upside. So that's it for me today, guys.
So if you guys don't know this right here, this is, let me go back a little bit. I have this indicator, market cipher. So like this, red right here that you see is like negative money flow. When you start seeing it flip green, he usually, like the guy CryptoFace that made this or whatever the case may be, he uses this all the time, and he talks about like you want to look for like little bumps and then, or bigger bumps and then a littler bump. Mr. Joker Miner, thank you for being a member or becoming a member again to the channel, and for gifting 5 memberships. Dude, you're insane. Kyle Rosa just got one. We have Wolf Moon, we have AC Mining, Mike the Miner, and Magic Lucky. Congrats, guys. I'm actually going to be picking a winner for the hash rate at some point today on the KS0. What I was saying here, though, when you see like a bigger, I guess he calls it a turtle shell, right? When you see a bigger turtle shell and a small one, which would be like this guy right here, and it flips, that usually launches the market. And as you can see, this boner candle we had right here was pretty nice the other day. So I don't know. I mean, once this flips into green, typically it tends to stay somewhat green. As you can see, this is somewhat red, right? And this is, again, I think, yeah, the weekly candles. So everything is going in an upward trajectory, right? That's kind of where it's at. So I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. But huge shout out to Crypto Zombie for that. Unfortunately, I do have to get out of here shortly. But if anybody doesn't know, if anybody came late to the video, let me see. Actually, I want to show you guys this. So BlackRock's iShares, a Bitcoin ETF, mysteriously disappears from, then reappears on the DTCC site. So they ended up taking, well, this is what made the entire thing launch yesterday, or the other day, right? The Bitcoin price just completely skyrocketed because this iShares Bitcoin Trust was listed on their DTCC, right? And then they removed it yesterday, and it caused a whole bunch of bullshit, and then they put it back on. So who knows what's going on? This entire article is in the description below. If you guys are interested in going to read it, feel free. And then also, if you guys missed right before this, the L7, for whatever reason, this XVG script coin, I don't even know. It's crazy. But the L7 is now making $26 to $28 a day, depending on what you have. That is absurd. I have not seen that in forever. Like, look, even like my disgusting electric rate would be 25 cents. I don't think that updated right. I don't think that updated right at all. There's no way. No way. No way in hell. Is that right? Is that right? I'd still be making $15. That is right. What? $20 a day? It cost me in electricity pretty much to run this machine, right? I would make a $15 profit. Wow. I'm gonna have to go find out what this coin is. This coin here. Where is it? XVG again. Let me type that in. XVG for anybody that doesn't know. Verge. This is, yeah, I don't know. Apparently it's an older coin. It's been around for a while, as you can see. Flatlined, huge peak on the bull run. Then, actually, oh yeah, this is the first bull run, second bull run. So it's really not performing great. That's not a great chart, to be honest, but I'm shocked at how it's that much more profitable on the L7. Shocking. Anyways, yeah, just wanted to get you guys in the loop with that, because I know we are mainly a crypto mining channel. So that's that. All right, let's see if you guys have any last questions before we get out of here. Joker Miner, thank you again for the gifted memberships, man. You have to do that. Appreciate you. 7 watts. Alvidus, what's he saying? Buy ETCMC. What is that? ETCMC. What is that? I mean, I'm gonna look it up now. ETCMC? That's not a thing. What is that? That's not a thing. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, sir? What is this? I know ETC's a thing. What's ETCMC? Let's. Oh, Elmo video. All right, that's right. That's right. Oh, and by the way, I'm gonna buy these today. I can't wait. I want my other mugs are coming in. I spent like $100 in coffee mugs so I could drink them in the morning with you guys. But I made this one in the store. I put an ASIC on the table. It's fine. If you guys are interested, the store is in the pinned comment. And then this one, I'm gonna buy these today because I need these in my life. This one with the mining rig is this one's my favorite, to be honest. It's so great. Just it's fine. Mining rig's like boiling. All right, let me play this Elmo video. You guys, someone told me to Google this. Is this it? Is this the one? Elmo invests in Bitcoin in 2020. We're gonna leave off with this. I have no idea what this is, so I apologize if it's awful. Let me see. Let's see.
Elmo, how was that? How do you feel?
Elmo feels kind of fantastic.
Oh my god. Oh my god, that just caught me off guard so bad. That I was not expecting that. Holy shit. Oh, all right, well, appreciate you guys for making me cry laughing like right at the end of the stream. Appreciate you all. All right guys, I'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning, 8:15 ish Eastern Standard Time. Appreciate you for that. I will post a link to that video in the VIP Discord. Appreciate you all. Have a good one and peace out.